Welcome back everyone. We're going to discuss a couple of tips that will make life a little bit easier for you when you're doing joins in SQL. Now usually when you're doing joins between two different tables on a common field value, the two fields on the corresponding tables don't always have the same name. So in this particular case, what we're doing is selecting the first name, the last name and the address. Now the address comes from the address table, and the two tables join based upon address ID on the contact table and ID on the address table. So our join statement looks like this, where we do a join command and we do on and we specify the corresponding columns on each of the tables. So in this case, it's address ID on the contact table and ID on the address table. However, if you have a scenario where both tables actually have the same column name, then it makes life much easier if you use the using clause. So let's take a look at how we do that. So imagine we got our two tables. Let's have a look at the columns in there. So on the contact table, you see an address ID column there, specifying the foreign key value that we're going to use to link to the address table. If we look at the address table now, we see also that the primary key on there is address ID. So both tables have a common column name, okay? And we're going to join on those two columns. And the way to do this when you've got a common column name between the two tables is to use using, and this is how we do it. And at this point we use using, and in brackets we put down the common column name. And if we run that, we get the result that we want. Using this syntax, it becomes immediately obvious to you exactly what the common column is between the two tables. The next time you're faced with joining tables which have a commonality in terms of the naming of the columns, try using the using clause to get what you want. Now the other thing to remember is this will work with any type of join that you're doing. Whether it's an inner join, an outer join, a left or a right join, you can still use the using clause. This leads me on to my second tip, which is really important to use aliases. Okay, so even though in this particular scenario, we know that these column names come from very specific tables, always use an alias for each of your tables so that it's immediately obvious for anybody who's going to pick up your code later to understand which table that you're referring to. So in this particular example, I would do this. And we don't need to put an alias on this particular reference here because it's common to both tables. Okay, and that makes your code a lot more maintainable and understandable by another party. Now I hope that helps. There's two little tips for you, but try and incorporate that into your everyday coding.